Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Welcome back to another episode of the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show. I'm your host, Niall.
And I'm Nolan.
And today we're going to be reviewing the latest and greatest in Finnish World War II propaganda films.
I mean, there's so many.
Sisu. And, so we'll give you a spoiler-free warning and then go... Or we'll give you a spoiler-free review, rather, and then give you a spoiler warning. At which point we'll go further into detail on it. But yeah, so it's not really propaganda because, war's over. But...
yeah, and the bad guys are bad guys.
Yeah, Nazis are bad guys. Surprise.
Right.
But yeah, so did you look up, how this movie came to be or anything?
No.
It really feels like someone had this script and was making some small budget thing, and then whoever it was who published this, did you recall catching who that was? Got a hold of it and decided, oh man, everyone's gonna love this, and so.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just saying, to me, that's what it felt like. Because it's weird. It's a fairly weird script. There's no one in it that anyone has heard of.
Well, no one in America anyway.
Yeah, there's no big actors. And considering the advertising budget behind it, it's just kind of weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the guy who was the Nazi captain was in The Martian.
Oh, okay.
Alex Vogel was the character. The actor was Axel Hennie, who's Norwegian. Yeah. Anyway, so this movie has
it has Quentin Tarantino vibes.
It has a Quentin Tarantino vibes about it, yeah.
There's these big old chapter frame, chapter
especially
titles.
It has especially Tarantino vibes, Hateful Eight forward. Well, I guess Inglourious Bastards forward in a way, but that wasn't his script,
right?
But yeah, it just was reminiscent of his more recent work.
Yeah, it pops up these chapter titles every chapter, and it has this sort of Western vibe to the titles, like something you would see in a Western movie, which is pretty typical of Tarantino.
Yeah. But anyway, it's pretty good. It's very violent
in a very ridiculous cartoonish way.
Yeah, but it's still.
I mean, you saw the trailer, right?
Yeah. It still one of those kind of keep your kids away thing. I mean, it's rated R and it definitely earns it. But yeah, overall it was an entertaining movie, and it didn't overstay its welcome.
No, it's 90 minutes.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, but I mean, basically, yeah, this dude's trying to get away from the war, strikes gold, and has to travel to go deposit it, and he gets waylaid by Nazis along the way, and he's trying to get away from them. Turns out he's kind of a badass, and yeah, it becomes extremely violent from thenceforth. I was trying to look up if it mentioned in the trivia for sure what that tank was, because it definitely was not a World War II tank. I'm pretty sure it was a T-54.
Yeah, the Germans have a tank, and it's not a German tank, but that's common in movies because there's not a lot of them laying around. But there are a lot of Russian tanks that they will dress up to try to pass off as a German tank. Some, more successful than others.
Yeah, well, I think most famously was in Patton, right? He's like a bunch of M48s, I want to say, in the like big desert tank battle.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it appears to be a T-55. Or T-54 or T-55. It's like same chassis, but people are saying it's a T-54. Or T-55 specifically. So, but yeah, we were looking at it, we're like, this tank is way too big to be anything that makes sense to be used by the Germans in Finland.
Yeah. Like I said, there's not a lot of German tanks available for use. They were all, like, destroyed or in museum pieces.
Turns out their transmissions are really bad.
There's only like the one working Tiger, right?
There's like a couple, yeah.
But like one of them, I don't know about maybe both of them. There's like you're so limited on how you can use it and where.
Yeah, like they used it in Fury,
but like it was basically parked.
Yeah,
like drove it into that field and like didn't really.
Well, they took it off a trailer in the field.
Right. It's very limited on like what they're allowed to do with it.
Tiger transmissions were notoriously terrible, like especially terrible. So, but yeah, and like they're like driving this tank, any German tank that they would have been driving for the distance it appeared the Nazis were traveling, that tank would not have made it to their destination.
No, they would have had to refuel.
Well, not just refuel. They would have had to stop and like fix stuff. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like they're not going, like you're not supposed to think about those sort of things. They never turned the turret on the tanks. I don't know if they were trying to make it be a Stug or something.
See, at first I thought it might have been just the way they were, like the angles they were shooting it at. But it also could have been like there was no reason to, or I mean, they had all this stowage piled on. Maybe they couldn't really turn it.
I mean, it could have also been like that. I mean, the T-55s are really old tanks, despite their apparent upcoming use in Ukraine. And it could just be that particular T-55 they had use of for the movie couldn't turn its turret. So, but yeah.
Or they were asked by the owner to not turn the turret.
Yeah, please don't. But yeah, it was a crazy, like just utterly ridiculous movie. It's one of those movies where it's like, there's no way this dude should be alive.
Oh yeah, it takes
such
so
a
many
beating,
so many injuries, and like he should be just so infected from all these bullet wounds and shrapnel wounds.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just like some pretty crazy extreme violence.
Yeah. Did that guy that was sitting next to me at the end, did you hear he was like, was that the movie?
Yeah,
like,
I heard.
What do you think it was? Like the pre-show? Like, and he's like, he thought he'd walked into the Covenant.
Right.
And he sat through Sisu instead.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was weird because he came in like 10 minutes into the movie.
Right, I just figured, he was late or whatever, but... Anyway, so I recommend the movie. If you just want a lot of action, you don't mind violence or gore. And, just one-man army killing a bunch of Nazis.
Yep.
Anything to add to that?
No, spoiler warning.
Okay.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to spoil.
He gets the gold.
He gets the gold there.
And kills 100% of the Nazis.
Yeah.
Or no.
One of them gets captured by the women.
Right.
The
so
pleasure girls.
So the beginning of the movie, the Nazis. So this is the part of the war where the Nazis are forced to flee Finland.
Yeah.
And
basically, so Finland was allied with Nazi Germany, and basically because Finland was afraid of being taken over by the Soviets.
Right.
And when the Soviets, like...
Finns don't like them, some Russians.
They really don't. And so when the Soviets were, like, winning the war, they basically offered a ceasefire, because the Soviets were wasting resources in Finland, too. Basically offered, like, a ceasefire in exchange. The Finnish had to push the Nazis out of their country.
Right. And so the Nazis, though, on the way out, were just destroying everything on the way out as sort of revenge.
Yeah, and I mean, well, and it makes sense too. Like if this country is now an enemy of yours,
Right.
you're gonna try to deny them all the resources you can on the way out.
So anyway, they had grabbed a bunch of women that they were kept in the back of a truck, and they were just raping these women whenever the mood struck them. And so the main guy, they only say his name like once when they find out, like when their intelligence is like, oh yeah, we identified his dog tags or whatever, because they get blown off of them. And he was this guy who was like famous in the Winter War. And anyway, so he arms the girls or the women with guns he pilfered off of the Germans. And so they kill some Germans and they capture one who was like the second in command. But the main guy kills all the rest of them.
Yeah, all the ones with,
plus a Russian.
All the ones with like major speaking lines in the movie get killed by our main guy, pretty much.
Except for the one guy.
And the tank driver.
Who, the tank driver, that actor, is the main character's, that actor's son.
He, like, we're looking at that, we're like, this dude's got to be a conscript, right? He looks like that kind of Russian that's like on the eastern side of the country where they're like half Mongolian, you know?
Yeah. He definitely has like Asian eyes.
Yeah.
But not like fully Asian, you know?
Yeah.
But like there's some like Asian blood in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he winds up somehow surviving in like crazy ways. Like at the end, he's like, they're on an airplane and there's no parachutes. And so he just like lashes himself to the forward wall and just like crashes into this like bog, and he just like pulls himself out of this bog. And he's got these like saddlebags full of gold, and he just like walks into
this would be 100 pounds worth of gold.
Yeah. And he just like walks into a bank at the end and like dumps it, and the only lines he ever says in the entire movie are "large bills, please. It'll be a lot lighter than the gold," or something like that.
Yeah, he says like it'll be easier than carrying the gold, I think.
Yeah.
Which he says presumably in Finnish.
I think it was supposed to be Finnish. For what it was English sort of like most of the movie, and then like the last little bit there was in Finnish, and then like the women who like take the German to like a military checkpoint, right? And that was Finnish.
Presumably.
Yeah. I don't know why they switched to Finnish right there for the movie.
I mean, I kind of wonder if like those actors were all local, and that's part of why I'm wondering like if this was something that was meant to be a much like lower scale movie, and so they had a bunch of these people who were locals, and the intention was never to have them speaking English through the whole movie.
And then they got like some money to like make it in English, or
yeah,
I don't know.
Like I would be curious to find out how this got made, because to me it really feels like someone had some like indie film they were making, and someone at a bigger studio got a hold of the script somehow and was like, "This, I can sell this, but you need to make it in English."
Yeah, well, I was looking at the Germans with speaking roles are not Finnish actors. Like the guy who's the second in command, he's English. Yeah, he's English. And then the captain is Norwegian.
Yeah.
And then let's see. The only one of the women who speaks does it have any information on her? There's like no information on her. So I don't know.
Maybe she's Finnish.
She might be Finnish and just also speaks English. Very likely. So
I don't know what kind of name Willemo is.
I don't know. But yeah, there's because there's very few speaking roles in the movie. But like the main actor, he's Finnish. I was looking at like there's a lot of Finnish actors, but like most of the like the German, the few Germans that speak are not Finnish. So yeah, I wonder if like it could be like someone saw this movie like being made and then pumped a bunch of money into it. You're like, but you gotta do these things to make it marketable in the West. But it still begs like, why the switch to Finnish at the very end? Because the only that like border check guard or whatever is the only other person in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the woman at the bank doesn't say anything.
Right. But I mean, it could.
It could have been in English.
Well, it could be this dude. I mean, does the Sisu guy? Is he Finnish?
Yeah.
The Sisu guy, whatever his name was,
I
Mr. Sisu.
Tommy. Just the main character of every movie is like the name of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, like Bruce Willis in Die Hard is Mr. Die Hard.
Yeah. So yeah, then Die Hard threw the guy off the building.
Yep. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I would be really interested to find out like how this movie got made and like why some of this is the way it is.
Yeah. It is sort of curious, but you know, it's the cinematography and it's like really good.
It's a well shot. It's part of why we were like, this really feels like someone trying to imitate Tarantino.
Yeah,
like it's also a really wide aspect ratio.
Right, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know that it's a 75 or anything, but it is pretty wide. It definitely I'd say it uses its budget well because I'm sure it's a low budget, but it had a good DP at the very least. Sometimes they put that on IMDb.
The DP?
No, the budget.
Oh.
If it's known.
I mean, it definitely felt like it didn't cost much to make, and if
they did shoot in the middle of nowhere in Finland, so.
And if our theater is anything to go by, it's definitely going to earn back its money because it was full. Except one dude who apparently paid for The Covenant and went and saw this movie. That's not money for this movie.
So it's not grossing a lot yet. It's only like showing.
No, that can't
for
be
this
right,
week
dude.
in 3 million.
There's no way it's worldwide is only $50,000 more than it's domestic.
Unless so far as worldwide is like only Finland.
Yeah.
And it hasn't released anywhere else yet.
Maybe that.
Because obviously, U.S. and Canada, they only have the weekend, obviously, because the gross for U.S. and Canada are the same for the weekend, the opening weekend. So
yeah, but that number doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I think word of mouth though might help it.
I don't know. Our theater was packed, and there were multiple showings of this movie going on in the theater.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is saying something because 4 screens of the theater were being taken up by Return of the Jedi, a 40-year-old movie that everyone has seen.
Yeah, but obviously they were selling tickets because when we went to see it the next, Sunday it was pretty full.
Yep.
So anyway, I think that's about all we have to say about that, right?
Yep, that's all I got.
All right, next coming up is
Guardians
of
the
Galaxy Volume 3. Right there. Top of the list. What's this? Slava Ukraini? Some documentary about...
Some propaganda piece.
Yeah. Yeah, it says it's a documentary, but...
I mean, I'm sure they won't tell any direct lies, but, anything about anything
about an ongoing war.
Right, any documentary about a currently active war, you can't exactly trust it to be objective.
No.
Not that I'm apologizing for the Russians or anything.
No.
I'm just saying, there's gonna be propaganda involved in that movie or that documentary.
Yeah. Then what else we got? Fast 10.
Fast X.
Wait, they made a live-action Asterix and Obelix movie? Huh. This is not a. This has got to be
It's not an American
foreign
movie,
language.
is it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, Astro Zombas. No one in America really cares about them.
Right.
It looks like it's in French.
Well, that would make sense, right?
Yeah.
Hun, 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 hun.
Anyway, that just like came up right there, like the same day as Fast X. Anyway, so I don't know. That might be
Are you excited
amusing.
for Master Gardener, Nolan?
No, I like the cast, but I watched the trailer. I'm like, what even is this?
Are we seeing Kandahar?
I don't know.
We're seeing the machine, right?
What is that?
That's that movie with
Oh,
Bert Kirchner.
yeah, his story about his crazy drunken escapades with the Russian guys or whatever. Yeah,
Like if you spend any amount of time on TikTok and your For You page has any kind of stand-up comedy involved or something, surely you've stumbled upon his thing.
yeah, I've seen the story.
He talks about how telling that story is, and like someone or that getting posted online.
People recognize him for the story.
Yeah, like that getting posted online is how he like sort of blew up. Like he was kind of struggling, I guess, but he's got big in the last few years because someone recorded that, or he had it recorded or something, and it got posted on TikTok, and he's blown up since then.
So, there's a Kamen Rider movie coming out. So yeah, you know what that is?
It looks like some Super Sentai.
It is. If I'm not mistaken, a lot of the footage was used for the not Big Bad Beetleborgs.
This looks like kind of a high budget production though.
Yeah.
Just looking at the little teaser that's playing here on IMDb.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those Japanese shows that they like pulled from for, Saban stuff.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, that I'm excited for. Transformers: Rise of the Beast. I saw something today that
I just cannot bring myself to give a shit about that movie.
Anyway, I saw something today that showed how they redesigned Optimus Prime's face so it now resembles Peter Cullen's face.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's good, I guess.
I mean, it was showed like the side by side. I'm like, I mean, he's been the voice of Optimus Prime for ever. Since the original cartoon. It's just kind of a neat thing for them to do. Is it just being called The Flash now? Not.
It's no longer a Flashpoint.
It just shows up as The Flash.
I could have sworn it was called Flashpoint.
It just says The Flash.
Huh.
And again, like I'm torn. Yeah, that's right there in the trailer. Just The Flash. Still torn on that because I don't want to reward Warner Brothers for keeping Ezra Miller around, but it still kind of looks like a pretty good movie.
A really good movie.
It actually looks like a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's kind of a...
Like, at a certain point, you just can't keep a guy around, right? I mean, he became a cult leader.
Right.
Yeah.
There it goes. My internet was like dying for a second.
Like, could you imagine if David Koresh was an actor and still getting work after
after Waco?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
But jeez, man. I mean, from what I understand, it wasn't a very big cult, right?
No. Oh, there's a Stan Lee documentary coming out. That's cool. Asteroid City.
Yeah,
I'm actually looking forward to that a lot.
I'm most looking forward to Oppenheimer, which is in July.
God is a Bullet. Is this the? It's got Jamie Foxx. Is this the movie that Jamie Foxx had the stroke while making? This is even
Jamie
about.
Foxx had a stroke?
You didn't hear about that?
No.
Yeah, he had a stroke and he's hospitalized
Huh.
while making a movie. When Vice Detective Bob Hightower finds his ex-wife murdered.
Hightower.
Finds his ex-wife murdered and daughter kidnapped by a satanic cult. Bob is frustrated by bumbling, botched official investigations. Bob quits the police force, gets tattoos, and infiltrates the cult to hunt down his charismatic cult leader, Cyrus. With the help of the cult's only female victim escapee, the brilliantly damaged... I had to, load the rest of it. The brilliantly damaged Case Harden. This sounds like an 80s movie.
It really does.
Bob is led down the
That's why I
rabbit
couldn't
hole
get
to
over the-
save his daughter, and Case seizes the opportunity to claim back her power from the cult
Yeah,
that took so much away from her.
My mind, just froze on Bob Hightower.
That's not as great as the only female victim escapee, Case Harden.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such an 80s movie.
It's supposed to be like case hardened, like the treatment for metal.
It's got Ethan Suplee in it.
All right.
But jacked Ethan Suplee. Have you seen him lately?
No.
Jacked.
I know
And it's got
Custer Waldo.
yeah.
Nikolai Custer Waldo.
Yeah, why can't I think of his name? Jamie
Lannister.
Lannister, yeah.
Yeah.
As Detective Bob Hightower.
I know
Anyway, that might actually be entertaining.
I know that Suplee dude lost a bunch of weight. I didn't know he was jacked.
Yeah, he lost that weight by lifting weights. he's jacked. God is a bullet.
Joke's on you. The first 20-something years of his life was the bulking period.
So, yeah, that actually looks like it might be a fun movie to check out.
Yeah.
If we're bored that week. Of course, it's it's a week before Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I was really hoping it was going to be another Judeo-Christian MacGuffin.
Mm-hmm. Do you see the trailer for this Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken?
No, you told me it looks really bad.
Yeah, you walked out to go to the bathroom. You missed it when we went to see Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
I came in and I was just like, oh man, that looks so awful.
I saw an animated banner trail teaser for it.
Mm-hmm.
So no audio or anything, and I was just like, yeah, I don't really know what's going on, but this looks awful.
And then Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning looks pretty good, actually. The trailer's good.
Well, of course it looks good. The last two were really good.
Then we got Oppenheimer.
Coming out the same weekend as Barbie, don't I think there's going to be some
Some serious crossover there. And the
crossover
Venn diagram
audience.
of Barbie fans versus Oppenheimer fans is surely almost a circle.
I mean, isn't everyone a Christopher Nolan fan? Doesn't everyone see Christopher Nolan movies?
Yeah, just so they can get, scratch their heads along with everyone else. Actually, I don't think Oppenheimer is going to be a real
I don't.
head scratcher of a movie.
I mean, they're probably gonna. It looks like they're making it out to be more diving into the psychology of Oppenheimer. Robert is his first name. Robert Oppenheimer.
I believe so.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna be. It looks like they're gonna be diving into his state of mind and the psychology of him. Because apparently he got kind of messed up after the bombs were dropped on Japan.
I mean, I get that, but he knew what he was making, right?
Well, I told you about that story where he went into the president's office and was basically called a pussy and said I'm the one who ordered the bomb to drop, not you, or something like that.
Once upon a time in Uganda, that can't have a good ending, right? Or nice ending anyway. Oh, it's a documentary. A brickmaker in Uganda becomes an internet sensation when he tries his hand at making action movies.
Huh. All right.
All right. And Haunted Mansion. Haven't seen a trailer for that, but it's got to be better than the previous one.
There's a poster up at the theater now.
Yeah. It's got a good cast, and it cannot be worse than the previous one.
At least there's like a real poster for it now. Cause dude, I really freaking hate these like logo on black background posters that these teaser posters that Disney's doing now. They're terrible.
Nicolas Cage movie, Joel Kinnaman, Sympathy for the Devil.
Did you hear that they canceled National Treasure before he got to do his cameo?
Yeah, because no one was watching National Treasure.
I didn't even realize it had come out.
I didn't either, but apparently even the people that knew didn't want to watch it. Yeah, after being forced to drive a mysterious passenger at gunpoint, a man finds himself in a high-stakes game of cat and mouse where it becomes clear that not everything is as it seems. Nicolas Cage, Joel Kinnaman, Kyle Lyman. I don't even know who that is. But anyway, that looks... that might be something to check out.
There's so many movies coming out.
I know. Like, we just don't have the time for all of it.
Really don't. Like, I don't know how we're going to fit in a movie this weekend, dude.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yep.
Yeah, anyway, so that's some of the stuff coming up.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll get to most of it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, as long as there isn't 2 movies on the same weekend, we can usually manage.
Unless you guys want to just give us enough money to do this professionally and we can quit our actual jobs.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. Then we can just see everything. We see like a movie every day. We can review all these movies.
I mean, if I could get the same salary I'm getting now for my current job, I would see every movie that comes to theater.
Yeah. It's sort of a time thing. Anyway. So, I guess we end it there.
Yeah, so if any of those movies sound interesting, you want to hear us ramble on about them, come back and check out those reviews. Also go check out our previous reviews. What was our previous review, and what was our last one?
Covenant.
Yeah. Did you only remember because that dude was asking you about that at the end of the movie?
Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, so check out our previous reviews. And we got all that stuff upcoming. So until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Toodles.